Okay, you now have a sheet that looks like this. You'll see that I added Roman numerals across the bottom, something that I should have done from the beginning. Please add those to your sheet if you don't have them already. Our extensions are labeled. The numbers are labeled, 9, 11, 13, 9, 11, 13 on all these, just to make it a little easier on us as we go through. Okay, and you should have the extension cheat sheet printed out, the sheet here, and we're going to go down these rules. Okay, our first rule says, rules for finding available extensions, right here. Rules for finding available extensions. Underneath that, we see omit the flat 9 on minor chords. So can't have minor chords with a flat 9 yet. Okay, so we look through here and we're trying to find any minor chord that has a flat 9. So I want you to take a second and do that. Think about how far the 9 is from 1. If you were to make it a 2, it would be a whole step from 1, right? So if our root is, for instance, if our root is E, then the 9 would be F sharp. Okay, so if I look at the 3 chord, I see that I have an F natural. So that's a flat 9. Have to get rid of that. You can't have it. Okay, pause this video and you go through and try and take out all of the flat 9s on minor chords. Okay, so now that you've done that, let's check your work. So here's a minor chord. The flat 9, well, let's think about the 9. The 9 would be an E. We have an E. We can keep that. We already did the 3 chord flat 9. Let's go to the 6 chord and see if we have a flat 9. Okay, well, the 6 chord root is an A, so that means that the 9 would be a B, a whole step, right? The 2. So do we have a B flat? No, we don't have a B flat. Okay, so we can keep that 9. That one's okay. Here's another minor chord. Even though it's a half diminished chord, it has a minor third, so we treat it like a minor chord. There's a B in the root, so the 9 would be a C sharp. Do we have a C sharp? No, we don't. We have a C natural. That's a flat 9. We've got to get rid of that. We have to omit that flat 9. Okay? And I'm going to draw my ledger line back in there again. Okay, rule number 1 down. We made it all the way through. So you can see I just systematically go through each of the minor chords and inspect them. Next, omit the 11 on chords with a major third. So which chords have major thirds? All of the major chords. There are 3 of them. So I want you to go through, pause this video, go through and omit the 11 on all of the major chords, or the chords with a major third. Okay, now that you've done that, let's check your work. The 1 chord has a major third, therefore, we've got to get rid of the 11. Can't have you there. It tries to steal the function of the 3 in the chord. Okay, 4 chord, we have to get rid of the 11. Now, some of you who maybe have a little more experience with theory might be saying, no, you don't have to get rid of the 11 on the 4 chord, it's a sharp 11. We'll get to that in a second. You'd be right. And we'll get to that in a little while. I just want to make sure that we kind of lay down these blanket rules for you at first. The 5 chord cannot have an 11. Got to get rid of that. Okay. All right, all of the major chords now, we've gotten rid of the 11s in those major chords. And our final rule here, we have to omit the flat 13 on any minor chord. Okay. So let's go through our minor chords and see if we have any flat 13s. And if we do, we got to omit those. The 2 chord is a minor chord. The root is D, so B would be the natural 13. So if we see a B flat, we've got to omit it, because that would be a flat 13. I see a B natural, so we can keep that 13. Our 2 chord's good. We can use all the extensions on a 2 chord. 3 chord. we see an E in the root. A C sharp would be the 13, the naturally occurring 13. So if we see a C natural, we've got to omit that. What do we have? We have a C natural. Got to get rid of that. Can't play a flat 13 on a minor chord right now. Okay, so you can see our 3 chord, we don't really have very many extensions available, only the 11 on our 3 chord. Let's go over here to our 6 chord. Another minor chord. Let's check out the 13 and see if it's a flat 13. And if it is, we've got to omit it. So we have a root that's an A. See if you can figure out what the 13 would be. I go backward. So I think of the 6 and I go backward. I go backward from 1 and I get to the 6. So I have an A. I'm going to go back to the 7, which would be G sharp. And then back to the 6, which would be F sharp. So I look up here and I see my 13 is an F natural. Can't have that. We've got to omit that flat 13. And finally, we come to our B minor 7 flat 5, half diminished chord, has a minor third, so we treat it like a minor chord. It has a B in the root. So let's use that trick where we go backward to find the 6. Okay, and that'll give us the 13. So use that. Think about it. Okay, we're on B. We go back a half step to 1. That's A sharp. Back another half step. And we have G sharp. So if we see a G sharp, we're good. That's a good 13 that we can use. If we see a G natural, we've got to get rid of it. What do we have? We have a G natural way up here, 4 ledger lines above the staff. So we got to get rid of that. Unavailable. Okay, now you can look at this, and these are all of your available extensions on each chord. Okay? What does that mean? That means that when you're choosing a voicing, so remember when we started this whole thing, way back when we were talking about triads, we talked about the difference between a spelling and a voicing. What we're figuring out right now are the spellings for our extended chords. Spellings, if you'll recall, provide you with all of the notes that are available for you to choose from. Voicings are a select group of notes that you choose from the available ones to put on your instrument, whether it's a piano, guitar, or a horn section. If you're voicing a horn section, right? You're just choosing notes that are available to you. So if I were a guitar player and I'm playing a D minor chord in a jazz tune or some other tune, I know that all of these are available to me. Now I only have 6 strings on a guitar. 6 strings at the most. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 notes here. So that's impossible. I couldn't play all those notes. So I'm going to choose the ones that I want to use. And this is where people really individualize their playing, set themselves apart from others based on the voicings that they choose. And we have some really basic voicings that people learn and use. And I shouldn't say basic, I should say common, because none of these are basic. So we have some really common voicings that you use, that I use, and that pianists use, and that we use for writing horns. We have great writers in history that kind of like modified voicings and came up with a system of voicings. And so we use all that, and we study all that, and that helps us get around the instrument. And then we can kind of, once we have that, then we can sort of navigate, kind of come up with our own ideas based on those old ideas. Okay? I think that's all I want to say about that. Next, alterations.